There's only so many Barloos that people want.
Yeah, right. Don't blame me, mate.
Angry suburbanite.
Yeah. Bit of road rage. Well, you know, you got to watch these crazy West Loop drivers. They're too busy shaving, putting on their makeup, talking on their phone and eating their lunch to concentrate on their driving. That's just the women.
Doesn't matter, worse.
Yeah, that's true. So let's head along Madison. See, this Sky Bridge is the biggest building in the West Loop by some distance. They're still, I think 4 years on now, trying to sell the last few units in there.
I believe there's 9 of them left, right? Something like that.
9?
Yeah.
It's a shame.
Yeah. So much for awards.
Probably not quite on target there, I would suggest. This is a cross light where my wife got a ticket for turning right on red, so be careful. We were new to the country at the time, we didn't realise that was illegal. That was our excuse, and it didn't work.
They didn't buy that.
No. So this used to be the ugliest hotel in the city, the Crown Plaza. I can't remember what it was before.
It was Days Inn,
right.
I believe.
Yeah, it's one of those.
It's just filthy.
But they were really clever. They just put those panels on, whatever they're made of, acrylic or I don't know, and it just cleaned the building right up. They've been trying to sell this bank land on the left there, where MB Bank is, for years. One day it will get bought and developed. I believe they've tried to pass plans for, you know, multi-storey high-rises, and they keep getting shot down. I believe that's one of the sites that they try and they tried to repress the building of anything over 10 stories in the West Loop. And it's not a law; it's more of a guideline that the community.
Yeah, what group is that? Which?
It's the West Loop Community Organisation.
Okay.
And in tandem usually with the aldermen, in theory at least, they try and suppress that. Like I say, it's not a law, it's just a guideline, and I'm sure once the need arises to go higher, it will happen. But for now they shoot it down on sites like the MB Bank site, the Carmichael site on Monroe. You're always seeing these proposals. And then the FedEx site further down, further west, I believe, on Jackson, is another one where they're trying to bigger stuff, and it might be happening soon. So that's the 901 Madison development on the left. It's one of the ones I think is a fairly standard new construction, without being too rude. But it sold well.
This one's pretty standard too. This is
yeah, it's pretty well priced in there though.
Is it?
Yeah.
What are they running there?
There was a 2-bed, 2-bath in there, corner unit with parking and a deck, I think, and it was all for I'm going to say 370, 375. I'm going way too fast now. Let's pull over for a sec so I can think about where to go. Yeah, there's new developments still, despite the glut of inventory in the West Loop. You know, on virtually every other street corner you'll see new developments. And they're usually larger. You don't see a lot of 3 and 6 flats around in the West Loop. They're usually at least 20 units upwards.
Yeah, that one up there is relatively small. I know right up that's Racine, I thought, yeah.
Right. Actually, I'll go left on Racine and then we can come back along Madison if we need to.
Yeah, nobody wants to see the Cardinal Fitness and the bank. The physical therapy center.
Okay. It's the worst gym in Chicago. But it is only $10 a month or something. Really.
Yeah, it's
Oh, here's a fun thing you can shoot. I don't know if you've seen this before. The Toy Factory here on the left. This is a toy company, and they rather amusingly created that little giant doorway with the crazy monster looking out. I love that. I'll show everyone that.
No, that's alright. Keep going. We have pressing time issues.
Yeah, right. So here's a good reason to live in the West Loop.
Yeah, the
CBD.
it's the 12th district, right?
There you go. They're not going anywhere for a while.
No.
These townhomes on the left are all new. It used to be pretty much all lofts and condos in the West Loop, but there has been a larger proportion of townhomes appear over the last few years. Dubin did a big development. And you can see the space is filling up. You know, occasionally you'll see some of the older architecture left alone, but it's few and far between. Another loft conversion on the right. A desperately needed bar came, I want to say 2 years ago, Union Park opened.
Yeah.
And that is absolutely slammed. Almost every evening.
It's packed.
They have a lot of TVs, they have a lot of good deals, and it's from a established Chicago chain.
What chain is that?
Good question. I can't remember what other ones they own. They've got about 5.
Okay.
And then
Stanley's
Stanley's
just
is
open,
open, which is nice because it's got a big garden and they're famous for their brunches. So another, you know, I think everyone called the West Loop the hot West Loop for about 5 years. I really wouldn't say it was hot anymore. You know, there's thousands of condos for sale at the moment, and people are still moving in numbers. There's still new developments appearing. But it's a pretty established neighbourhood now. Appreciation has slowed to a crawl for now. You know, hopefully that'll pick up again when the market in general picks up. And some of the infrastructure has been a little slow to come about.
How would you compare this to the West Loop? I mean, what are the advantages? What are the disadvantages?
Compare the West Loop?
Similar areas, I think, kind of spread it up at the same time.
The West Loop and the South Loop, do you mean?
Yeah.
Well, the South Loop, I don't know, well, certainly a difference in structure down there in terms of high-rises,
Sure,
where they're not restricted by any heights, and I think your average price point down there is probably a little higher as well, because you've got the proximity to the lake and the views and all that kind of stuff. And the buildings tend to have more amenities. And I think they've seen more restaurants come in a shorter space of time down there, but I think the West Loop had a bit of a head start in terms of restaurants and bars, with Randolph Row and Greektown being established for a few years. I think both are lacking in retail, but definitely the South Loop has the edge on that. They're building every single store that exists on the planet around Roosevelt,
Right,
in one form or another. And West Loop that's the main thing about the West Loop that it lacks. It's not particularly a neighbourhood you're going to walk around and find a little bookstore or hang out in, your local boutique shop. There's a few on Lake and Madison, but really that's what it's been lacking is the retail and the neighbourhood feel of walking around. At the weekend this place is really very quiet, which is a nice thing as well. That you're not in the middle of Lincoln Park being swarmed by thousands of people, but definitely needs to pick up on the retail side of things. There was, for instance, a nice plot at Morgan and Adams that was available for a while, new retail space for obviously aimed at a bunch of smaller entities, but I guess it just got taken over by an Equinox gym. The whole thing.
Really?
So maybe that's a sign that they weren't able to fill it. Maybe the rents for the retail companies are too restrictive.